Hello, this is my writing prompt 3, and it all started December 1st, 1971, San Diego, California. Tommy just finished writing his letter to Santa Claus. He was asking for the coolest toy ever. He wanted a 3-speed rocket racer bike. Every kid on the street was asking for the same kind of bike. Tommy's letter was not anything to brag about. It said mean things about Santa and the elves. Then he tried begging for the bike, so Santa would feel sorry and give it to him. Tommy's letter was pretty jacked. Tommy was not the best boy. He was kind of a rotten kid. Everybody knew it too. He never did his homework, and when Tommy went to school, he had to walk because he got kicked off the bus for throwing spit wads. Tommy was sure that Santa would fall for his letter. He was sure he would get a really cool rocket bike. He wanted to make all the other kids jealous. December 25th, 1971, Tommy's house, San Diego, California. Tommy woke and ran to the Christmas tree. He did not get the rocket bike. Instead, he got a dirty old rock. Tommy was mad. 30 years later, December 1st, 2001, somewhere near the North Pole. Without getting notice, a small penguin with an orange nose snuck into the house of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He picked the lock on the black door with his beak and walked in without making a sound. But he did make a puddle on the floor. No, the puddle was not yellow. The penguin snuck up behind Rudolph as he was watching TV. The penguin raised his wings like he was going to attack Rudolph. Then Rudolph turned around. His nose was glowing bright red. Rudolph whacked the penguin across the room with his antlers. Rudolph yelled at the penguin for coming into his house without calling first. The penguin got up and told Rudolph that the job was finished as requested. December 4th, 2001, San Diego, California. A brown UPS truck drove up to Mr. Tommy Donahue's house with a large box. The box had the letters "Keep Frozen" printed on it. Mr. Donahue took the box inside his house and cut it open. Out popped Frosty the Snowman. He was looking pretty thin and all sweaty. Frosty asked for a glass of iced tea, then started telling Mr. D that he needed help. He said that Santa Claus was kidnapped a few days ago. Mr. D told Frosty that he really didn't think Santa would want his help. Then he said he had to make a phone call. Mr. D called the Grinch to get some extra muscle. Tears poured out of Frosty's eyes. He was really afraid of the Grinch. Last time they met, his head got ripped off by the Grinch after they had too much hot chocolate. December 5th, 2001, somewhere in a UPS truck on its way to the North Pole. The Grinch was complaining that he was forced to take a trip to the North Pole crammed in a UPS shipping box with Frosty and Mr. D instead of renting a car and driving. Frosty told the Grinch that they were saving $2 by shipping themselves by UPS. December 10th, 2001, somewhere in the North Pole. The Grinch, Frosty the Snowman, and Mr. Donahue cut themselves out of the UPS box and walked up to Santa's house in search of the clues to the kidnapping. They entered the house and found a note from the penguins asking for a ton of money, or they would never see Santa again. Mr. Donahue told his friends that the penguins don't live in the North Pole. They must have been hired by someone else to do the kidnapping. But who? Just then, a loud thundering shook the ground, and a bright red light filled the sky. 100,000 penguins waddled up to the three rescuers as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer flew down onto them. Rudolph told Frosty and his friends that he had spent all his money on the lottery tickets and did never win anything. He needed money bad, so he hypnotized all the penguins he could find and brought them up to the North Pole to kidnap Santa. He had told Mr. Claus that he wanted $500 million or she would never see Santa again. She told him no, and she moved to Hawaii. So it was up to Frosty and his friends to come up with the cash or they would never see Santa again. Three friends looked at each other and thought for a minute. They told Rudolph that they could keep Santa, and they each took a UPS box back home. The end.